Happy Tuesday, everyone. So, this Tea Speaks encouragement is going to come out later than we are used to, later than normal, and that's okay. Um, I initially had two different things that I was going to talk about, but I'm going to incorporate them both into one video. And I feel like, so one thing is a testimonial that I want to do, I need to do. And I feel like um, that giving that testimonial on the specific group, on the specific topic that we are going through and we were speaking about, I feel like it also has something to do with the topic that God gave me for T Speaks Encouragement. So welcome back to another T Speaks Encouragement. First of all, I told y'all when God speaks, that's when I'm going to be posting T Speaks encouragements. Initially, I thought that it was only going to be on Wednesdays, but I've been here almost every day so far. But listen, when God speaks and when He has a word, He has a word, and He wants you to get it out when He wants you to get it out. So we know how that goes. But I am T. For those of you that are new here, I am a mentor. You may have seen in the past life coach in front of my name or behind my name. I have transitioned from out of a life coach into a mentor. Reason being, and this is my personal opinion, but reason being, my personal viewpoints. A life coach is a little bit more of a structured, a little bit more orderly, a little bit more um, do this assignment, I'll check back in with you. A mentor, however, is someone who walks literally, I feel like they walk hand in hand with you. And I feel like they are there to not necessarily coddle you every step of the way, but they are there to guide you every step of the way. Just like the footprints in the sand, Jesus was there to guide us. That I feel like is what a mentor is. A little bit more of an intimate type of leader, a little bit more of an intimate person that is going to be there to help you and lead you. Now, don't get me wrong, in some capacities, a life coach is absolutely necessary. However, for me and the track that he has me on and the track that he has me going down, I felt it necessary to transition out of life coach into mentor. So I'm no longer life coach. I am mentor. And I just wanted to specify and clear that up just in case anyone had any questions, anyone had any concerns, or anyone had anything that they wanted to come to me to speak to me about. And the area that I am mentoring in is me being on a mission to help women to come out of feeling like they are self-sabotaging, help women feel like they're coming out of maybe they are in an area where they don't see the light, where they don't see the light in themselves. Maybe they're in an area where they see it, they're pushing there, kind of like a balloon. You push, 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 you blow, 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 blow until it pops. They're kind of to that point right before it pops where it's like, I'm here and I'm in the light. God, where do you need me to go? So I am on a mission and a mandate from God to assist women that feel like they are hidden, that feel like they're in self sabotage and self drought, getting them out of that area and getting them into an area where they can feel like they are walking boldly and unapologetically in their Christ centered, Christ founded, God given identity. I call it crown confidence because we're crowned. We're heirs. When we come into one and we give him our yes and we become a child of God, we become an heir in the kingdom. So I refer to it as crowned confidence because we are heirs walking boldly in our identity that God has given us. We're not doing it, or we're doing it unapologetically. We're not apologizing for who God called us to be. We're not doing it in a prideful way, but we're not apologizing for who it is that God has called us to be. It's time out for, oh, I'm sorry, God told me to do that, but if it offends you, then I won't do. No, we're not doing that. We are going to step out and we are going to step out boldly and we are going to step out and do what it is that God has called us to do in our crown confidence. Not in a prideful manner, but in a crowned confident manner. That wasn't in my plans, but it was due time for me to reintroduce myself. It was definitely due time. Yesterday, if you did not check out the video that I shared about the lavender scented anointing oil, then please do so. But I promise you, it's all going to be along the same lines. The everything is going to tie in together today. But I, like I said, did not have the. I was not planning on reintroducing myself today. When God speaks, He means speak, and when He tells you that He wants you to get something out, then get it out. Don't hesitate. Don't say, "Well, I need to rehearse." Don't say, "I need to do this, this, or this." Let Him fill your ears with what it is that He wants you to say. Let Him fill you up with the word that He wants you to get out, and trust that it's going to be a word that is necessary. Trust that it's going to be a word that's needed. Trust that He's not going to point you into the wrong direction. And that leads me into the next thing that I want to discuss, which is my testimonial. My testimonial a couple weeks ago, I don't know if some of you may have caught that encouragement where I tagged Denyana and I also tagged Aljournae. I gave my testimonial that day about Aljournae, and I wanted to come back on and follow up since the challenge is over with Denyana. And excuse me, the fireproof. I wanted to come back and or I'm sorry, it was unmask her. Fireproof is what we're going into next. But I wanted to come back and give my testimonial on that. And that is part of the reason why I believe God told me to reintroduce myself in the beginning of this video. I feel like He called me to reintroduce myself because of how Denyana was when she introduced herself to us, because of how she approached the challenge, because of how she handled the challenge, because of how she handled us throughout the whole challenge. When I say throughout the whole thing, it was from the beginning, not even just the start of it, but from before the beginning to the start of the challenge, everything in between the challenge to the end, and even now, well after the challenge is over, she's still pouring, she's still giving, she's still heartfelt, she's still all of those things. And this challenge, I will be completely honest, I almost did not sign up for this challenge. I almost did not sign up. I said, I'm in another cohort and I'm doing something similar. So I'm not understanding why He was calling me to sign up for this specific challenge, especially because to me, it looked like they were two in the same. It looked like the challenge that I finished was, and it's not a challenge that I'm currently in, it's a cohort that I'm in. But I felt like they were two in the same. But getting into it, I quickly realized that they were not two in the same. They were not at all. The prayer challenge that we did with Aljournae, with Denyana, the prayer challenge that we did with her, the unmask her prayer challenge, it blew my mind. And when I say blew my mind, like it blew my mind because every single thing that I have questioned, every single thing that, and I'm talking from the journal prompts, I'm talking to the teachings, the prayer in the morning, it felt like I would wake up with something on my mind, I would join the prayer call, and it would be answered in the prayer call. Or in the evenings, the classes, in some of the classes, I had to go back and watch the replay. And I felt like watching that replay, I felt like I was right in the room watching the replay. But I felt like I missed it for a reason, because I needed to sit and listen. I needed to take that time to actually sit and say, okay, I'm not in here live, but I'm still here doing it. I'm watching the replay. He wanted to see just how intentional I was going to be about my time with Him. He wanted to see just how intentional I was going to be. Well, you got this to do: Tuesday's Bible study, Thursday's Bible study, Friday, that evening on Friday, I spoke somewhere else. So He wanted to see exactly how intentional I was going to be and how intentional I was going to be with my time. And in doing so, He made it so that I had no choice but to watch the replay. And when I watched the replay, I had no choice but to be in a space by myself where it was just me and Him. But back to Denyana, even all throughout this prayer challenge, she was real, she was honest, and she was being unmasked with us. She was being unmasked with us, and that's what made it so much more um intimate. I can't really think of another word to say other than intimate. Sisterhood, sisterhood like no other. Like these women, we well, I don't know any of them from anywhere else except for just being in a group on Facebook with them. Um, and even just that, like he is bringing me out into an area where I have no choice but to trust where he's taking me. I have no choice but to trust where he's taking me in doing this challenge, linking up with this community. When I say God is intentional, listen to him when he speaks. Listen to him when he gives an order. Listen to him when he gives a command. He's not giving it for no reason. And you never know who is in that room that might need you. They might need what you have. They might need to see your push. They might need to see your strive. They might need to see, well, she broke at this point, but she's pushing past this. Just like Dinyana. When I say she was phenomenal throughout this whole challenge, absolutely phenomenal, like no other. She was real with us. She was raw with us. She let us in. She let us in, and that meant so much to me because, like I said, I don't know her personally, but I feel like I know her personally. But not in a personal way where it's like, oh, I'm invading your space. In a personal way where it's like, I trust you enough to let you in. So if you are feeling like this was the Unmask Her Prayer Challenge, but if you are feeling like you are in a position where you you just don't know which way to go, like you feel like you're standing in the middle of the fire and you're like, do I go this way to get out? Do I go this way to be refined? Where do I go, God? I'm standing here in the middle of this fire. Where do I go so that I just don't burn to a crisp? There's a difference between burnt to refined and burnt to a crisp. There's a difference. And when I say that she put it point blank for us to say, God has you positioned for a reason, even walking us through her own personal story, even walking us through her own personal struggle, walking us through her own personal failure. But I don't look at it as a failure. I look at it as that was her refining moment. That was her refining moment. It was, we're all human. So at some point, we're all going to fall off somewhere. We're all going to fall short somewhere. But how are you going to get back up? What are you going to do with that? Are you going to stay in that mess and stay falling? Or are you going to get back up and walk in your purpose? Are you going to turn that pain into your purpose? Are you going to turn that pain into your passion? Or are you going to sit and waddle in your tears, turning it into water, turning it into a well, turning it into you drowning yourself in that sorrow? And that is what Dinyana made so clear for us, is that this is what I did. I may have messed up. I may have gone through, but I didn't stay and waddle in that. God used that, and I used that pain. God used that moment of failure. He used that moment of falling. He used that moment to push me into my purpose. So because he's using that moment to push me into my purpose, now I'm here to show you how you too can turn your pain into a pleasure. How you too can turn your pain into a passion. Turn your pain into walking into your purpose. So when I say this next challenge is September, I believe she said 3rd through the 5th. If you are not in that, I highly, highly encourage you. If you are a woman and you feel like you just came out of the unmasking season and you're like, I don't know which way to go. Maybe you unmasked and you're like standing here with the mask and you're just so terrified to go left. You're terrified to go right. You're terrified to go front. Or maybe you're terrified to even step back a little bit. Get in this challenge. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. And the host, Dinyana, when she, and I know I'm saying her name a lot, but I want to make sure that when I give flowers, I like to give flowers where they are due. And she absolutely deserves her flowers. She absolutely deserves her flowers, her gems, her everything. She absolutely deserves them because she literally, when I say walked through this with us, It wasn't just her teaching, it wasn't just her leading, it wasn't just her guiding. It was literally her walking her way through this as we walked our way through this. And that level of trust in God, that level of trust in community, that level of trust in sisterhood, that level of love in sisterhood, which takes me into my next thing that he wanted me to talk about for T Speaks Encouragement. But that, all of that is faithfulness. It's a level of faithfulness. And it's a level of faithfulness that can only come from God. It can only come from God positioning you into where it is that he wants you to be, where it is that he needs you to be. Sometimes we look and we say, well, should I reach out to this person, or should I do this, or should I do that? But if God is calling you to do it, then absolutely you need to do it. That is you being faithful to him. On my flip book for today, my flip book says, today I pray that I can practice patience in all of my interactions with others. That alone is faithfulness. You practicing patience, and that is what Denyana portrayed to us throughout this whole thing. Even in the times that she felt like she lost her patience, she showed us, I'm pushing through this with persistence. I'm pushing through this with perseverance. I'm pushing through this, and even though I feel like I'm losing my patience, God is being patient with me so I can be patient with myself. So I urge you to join the prayer challenge with us. Join the prayer challenge with us. I just shared the live that she just did on Joseph's Arise. So if you feel like you are in a Joseph season and you feel like you are arising, it is time for you to arise. It's not time for you to think on it. It is not time for you to backpedal. It is not time for you to stutter step. It's time for you to literally walk in what it is that God is calling you to walk in. That may mean that when you walk through that fire, some things are going to fall off of you, as they should. That may mean when you walk through that fire, some people are not going to be there that were there when you walked through. You're walking through the fire and they're looking at you like you're crazy because you're walking through the fire trusting God. Meanwhile, there's still some steps behind you trying to figure out how you're getting elevated, and they're behind you. You trusted God when they didn't. Trust him and take this next step and get into this challenge. It's more than just a challenge. I promise you, it's more than just a challenge. It is sisterhood. Like I said, I can't stress that enough. Sisterhood is very, very important. Being patient with others, faithfulness, all of that is, I am my brother's keeper. Are you your brother's keeper? That's a real question for you to ponder on. Are you your brother's keeper? Are you your brother's keeper? If so, do the necessary steps that it takes to get into position so that you can show your brother or your sister, I'm here to keep you. But until you're able to let God keep you, you won't be able to show others how God can keep them. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. I needed to be in position for God, for me to show God that I trust you enough to keep me. And in me showing him that I trusted him enough to keep me, he now trusts me to keep others. But it was a process. It wasn't an overnight, yes, I'm giving you my yes. I'm coming up to the altar to get saved. I'm saying yes, I'm doing the things, I'm learning, I'm studying. It wasn't an overnight process. It wasn't. And even after giving your yes, you still fall short at times. We're human. Even after giving your yes, you still are battling with things at times. We're human. But what are you going to do with that? Are you going to trust God enough to walk through that fire? Are you going to show those that are looking at you, those that look up to you, those that are looking at you as an example, are you going to show them that you trust God enough to walk through that fire? Because you showing them that you trust God enough to walk you through that fire, they may follow or they may not. That decision is on them. But do you trust God enough to walk you through that fire? Faithfulness. Faithfulness, we know, is when you're faithful in a relationship, it's you and that person. When you're faithful to God, it's you and God. Nobody else can have that intimate relationship for you but you. Nobody else can be in your relationship. It's not a three-way relationship. It's you and God. That's your personal relationship with God. Yes, of course, there's Jesus, the Holy Spirit, you. But when I say your relationship with God is your relationship with God, nobody else can take that walk for you but you. But do you trust God enough to step outside of your comfort zone? Do you trust God enough to step outside and say, God, I'm here. I'm walking through that fire. Do you trust God enough? Are you faithful enough to step out and walk in that fire? Are you faithful enough to step out to be refined? Are you faithful enough? And in being faithful, sometimes you have to be faithful to, and I don't mean this in a way, I'm just going to say it like it's coming to me. Sometimes you have to be faithful to you. Sometimes you have to be faithful to you to show God that he can trust you enough. And by being faithful to you, what I mean by that is you being faithful to you is you opening your mouth when you realize that you need help. Opening your mouth when you realize I'm struggling in this area and I need somebody to pray for me. I am not necessarily a person that usually opens up my mouth to say, I need prayer. This morning, that changed for me. Yesterday I posted something, do something different. Yesterday evening I went live. Today, this morning, I did something different. I was faithful to myself and my need. I was faithful to God, not stepping outside of his will, but I was faithful to him in saying I need prayer. It's not um it's not you being weak. It's not you being weary. It is not any of those things when you step out and say, I need help. That is you showing God, I trust you with the community that you have given me. I trust you with the people that you have supplied me with. I trust you with the resources that you have provided me with. I trust you. I trust you enough to go to who you have given me to say, I need help. I trust you enough to go to the people that you have given me to say, I need prayer. I trust you enough to walk hand in hand with this person as I'm walking through this fire. God, I trust you enough. But the question is, are you faithful enough to trust God? Nobody can answer that question but you. Are you faithful enough to trust God? On my other flip book is this one. And I know it's backwards, but I still wanted to show them just in case. So John 10:10, I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. But how can you have that more abundant life if you're not faithful? How can you have that more abundant life if you don't trust God? How can you have that more abundant life if you don't step out? How can you have that more abundant life if you don't walk through that fire to be refined? How can you have that more abundant life? The enemy, excuse me, the other part to that, the enemy we know comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But he can only steal what you hand over to him. He can only kill what you hand over to him. He can only destroy what you hand over to him. Are you going to willingly hand it over to him, or are you going to willingly step away from him and hand it over to God and trust him as you walk through that fire? And I'm going to close off there because I really want you to sit on that question. Are you faithful enough to trust God? Are you faithful enough to trust God? Are you faithful enough to trust God? Be it you walking through that fire. Are you faithful enough to trust God to trust who he has sent you to open up and say, I need help when you need help. To open up and say, I need prayer when you need prayer. Or you can even flip it. Are you faithful enough to God to trust him when he sends you people that say, I need help? When someone comes to you to say, I need help, and they need you to pray for them, are you faithful enough to God to say, I'm going to pray for you? Or are you going to say, here she comes again? Here she comes again, getting on my nerves. The same old sob story, the same old this, the same old that. Or are you going to trust God enough to pray? He saw fit to save us, and he didn't stop attempting. He won't push you into getting saved, no, but he won't stop attempting either. The choice is yours. But the real question is, are you faithful enough? Are you faithful enough? And I'm going to leave you off with that. I love you. I hope and pray that you have a wonderful evening. I will tag Denyana in here. I also mentioned Aldrine. I went through her Mamas Who Multiply challenge, and I know I did my testimonial there. But she is another one in talking about faithfulness, in talking about community, in talking about sisterhood. She's another one who, in her challenge, walked along with us. She didn't say, I'm here to teach you. She said, I'm here to learn with you. I'm here to help guide you. I'm here to walk with you. So I say that to say, be mindful and be prayerful. When you see these challenges that get posted, when you see these conferences that get posted, when you see these conventions that get posted, don't look at it and say, "Ooh, I'm just going to go to this and this." Truly pray on it and see where God is leading you to. Truly pray on it. Be faithful enough to God to pray on it, to let him lead you into the right direction. And I promise you, he will not lead you astray. As I said, I almost did not go through this challenge, this prayer challenge. But number one, God wouldn't let up on me. And number two, finally when I did, and I opened it up and I said, the first day, the very first morning of going through this challenge, I felt welcomed. I felt Holy Spirit. I felt love. I felt unity. I felt sisterhood. And none of these ladies have I met in person. But I felt all of this because wherever the presence of the Lord is, wherever the Spirit of the Lord is, there is love, truth, peace, forgiveness. Even if that means you forgiving yourself, there's forgiveness in that. So when you see something posted, trust him enough, be faithful enough to him to go to him and say, are you leading me to this? And you will get your answer. If you're still enough to listen, you'll get your answer. So I love you. Share this out because maybe someone else needs to hear it. Maybe someone else needs to see it. Share this out. This is crown confidence. This is literally crowned confidence. This is you letting God speak, you not having a script, you speaking what it is that he's saying for you to speak unapologetically, you being the you that he has created you to be unapologetically, you doing all the things unapologetically to glorify God. But you're not doing it scared. You're not apologizing for who he's called you to be. You're not doing it in a prideful manner, but you're not apologizing for it either because you know that you're standing in authority. You know that you are ordained. You're preordained for where it is that he has called you to be. Whatever room you step foot in, he's already preordained you to be there. Whatever ground you step foot on, he's already preordained you to be there. He's already authorized your entrance. He's just waiting on you to understand who it is that he has called you to be. So I love you. I keep trying to close off and keep trying to finish, and he study talking and speaking. I'm going to get out what God is telling me to get out. If you feel like this is too long for you, I can't apologize for what he's giving me to speak. And as I speak to you, I speak to myself as well, because we all know that when a word comes, the word comes to us first. So if you can't take that word for yourself, then you don't need to be putting it out there for somebody else. That was for somebody. Because a lot of people want to hear a word and they want to take it and they want to just give it instead of them taking it and chewing on it and taking it and meditating on it. They just hear it and they just want to run with it. But you got to trust God enough. You got to be faithful enough to God to understand when the right time is. You got to be faithful enough to understand that Habakkuk 2:2-3. I said this on Sunday. All God tells us to do is write the vision and make it plain. After that, it says that it's going to come at his appointed time. So it could come faster than our timeline. It could come slower than our timeline. It could come on our timeline. But it's all according to the plan of God. It's all according to the will of God. It's all according to how he wants it to go. So don't taint the Holy Spirit, but don't push him out either. And by that, I mean, don't oversaturate, don't overspeak, don't overstimulate, don't overdo it. Don't overthink it. But trust God enough and trust Holy Spirit enough that when they speak to you, you are obedient enough to listen. I love you. I'm closing off of here now. Have a great one.